Welcome to part 2 of the Icarus Idea Christmas special. Woo. Still speaking with Daan Roosegaarde. Last episode, Daan inspired us by saying that putting the creative idea first can guide us. Now, that could help us towards a protopia, he said, which is more realistic than a utopia. It's the opposite of a dystopia. It is us step by step improving the world, making prototypes towards a better world. Now, if you haven't heard that yet, highly recommend doing that first. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of Jens and my conversation with Daan Roosegaarde.
We spoke about how, of course, you work with a lot of people, and a lot of people come in to help you, experts in the field.
Sure.
And a lot of people come help you. And of course, we spoke about how your responsible job at NASA as well. What would your advice be to people who want to help you with this prototypic vision, want to help you out with projects, future projects, things like that?
That's a good one. Well, I think we're always open for new collaborations for designers, project managers, communication experts, material experts. We have an internship program, very active. So the studio is growing and hiring. So in that way, that's a very concrete, practical one-on-one. But I think even on a more meta level, I think don't be scared, but be curious, and you will always have people telling you what you want cannot be done, and it's your job to prove them wrong. And more than ever in the time of global challenges, beyond the corona, the climate change, rising sea level, the air pollution, which we're also going to face, right? That is bad design. We have created it as human beings. It's not Mother Nature, it's not Earth. We have unconsciously designed our planet with our pollution, our consumerism, our behavior. So what are we going to do? Cry, hide, blame, wait in a room for somebody else to fix it? No, we got to design, we got to engineer a way out of it. And that requires young, bright, talented people who are not just scared but curious, who think in proposals, not just opinions, and say, okay, we got to design that world. And that's not just a nice story, that's just a hard life world. Maybe should we design floating cities, right? Should we, when the city becomes a machine that kills us with its air pollution, should we build machines that can help us, that can heal us? And I think these are very, concrete. And so I find it very weird that when you talk about future, the discussion is left to politicians and bankers and medical people right now. Where's the designer? Where's the architect? Where's the creator? And why are we not sort of claiming that domain more? Because we're actually really good at it. So start designing which trigger that curiosity, and you will have your playground as well, your field for experiment. But be proactive. They're not going to call you. Nobody called me 5 years ago and said, can you design a smoke-free tower? Nobody did that. Nobody called me and said, hey, can you make shooting stars from space waste? That won't happen. And it didn't happen. You got to do it. You got to do it yourself. So don't wait to be discovered. Forget about that one.
But what if people do come to you? Because at some point, people do come to you, right?
When people come to me, they have, it's like a taste in your mouth, like a flavor. They know what the ingredients a little bit, but they don't know how to cook. Everybody has a pen, but not everybody can write a book. Not so many people can write a good book, right? So you need to understand that in that challenging of each other, you create your value and also your fun, right? Your personal satisfaction, which is really important, because design and architecture, it's a hard job. It's not comfortable. It's not particularly fun. I wouldn't describe my life as fun, right? It's great. It's great, but it's also horrible. You're just fighting for details. It's like you're always trying to reach something which is almost not there yet. So you really gotta love it. You really gotta like what you do. Otherwise, you won't make it. Just do something else.
Interesting.
I think it's interesting that you say that you don't think it's fun.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's searching, it's tweaking, it's pushing, it's shutting up, it's listening, it's tick, 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 but it's like, I wouldn't describe it. I mean, in the end, it's fun, but
The end result is fun. Maybe that's it.
yeah, I mean, like, for example, we did, here, I'll show you a secret project. We're launching this. Don't describe what you look like because we can't talk about it. But we're
we can't talk
launching
about it.
we're launching this in January the 5th. I just showed an artist impression of a new project. Yeah. And so we had to shoot 20,000 square meter artwork, right, in the Netherlands at night.
Wow. Okay.
And then they kept it running. Everything was, and then they kept it running for 10 minutes extra. Everybody left, and I was just there alone, right? And I do that all the time. So in the beginning, it's for everybody, but I realized I have to give myself a little present, right? Because I worked so hard on it. Everybody worked hard on it, but I just create this little moment, and it's very selfish. It's just for me. And I love that, and it just feeds me, right? It makes me happy. So you also have to figure out what makes you tick, what's good for you. So again, there's a we do it together, and that's a sort of joy. But I realized, I need to have this sort of intimate moment with the work as well. Yeah. So, but yeah, again, that will take you 10 years to figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, no, fine. I got 10 years. That will be fine.
Yeah,
We'll
you
be
got
fine.
time. You got time.
We actually we asked our followers on Instagram because we were rather hyped that we were going to talk to you. We thought maybe they have questions for you as well. One that fits right now is you just said that we need this curious approach to design, this initiative, right?
Right.
So say we have that. Then the next step was, well, that is of course a lot of mini decisions, but then you have that artist sketch that you put on the table and say, this is what I want in 3 months, right? Or roughly what we want in 3 months that you mentioned all the way in the beginning, the artist sketch.
Right.
And then there's an entire process, and then at the end you give yourself that moment where you enjoy your own creation. Now, the listener's question was, how do you actually realize those projects? So what is let's say the general process of realizing your ideas?
Well, it's funny. It's like a lot of people ask me, when you start, how do you know if it's a good idea? Well, it's a very simple answer. You don't. You don't know if it's a good idea. You just spend an incredible amount of love, time, energy, and you feed it. Literally, you feed it, and it starts to grow, and it creates its own reality. So we're launching Urban Sun next week, a specific light frequency, which was actually invented in 2018 by scientists, which is a special 222 nanometers, which kills viruses, including corona, without harming people or animals.
Wow.
So we're launching Urban Sun, a huge floating sphere with that light frequency. We teamed up with those scientists. So we can make public spaces corona-free, all the aerosols, all the services, 99.9% in a couple of minutes. Safety certificate by Dutch Meteorology Institute. So we're almost there to launch it actually a couple of days. So I'm fine now. But in the beginning, everybody said, no way, Jose. Don't go there. Too sensitive, too fragile, too
Dangerous.
Too dangerous. It's a risk, There was no client, so I spent my own time and money and energy on it. And yeah, there were moments when you're sitting in the car on your way home. You're like, why are we doing this again? but I couldn't. It was in my head. It needed to get out. There was no escape in a way. And exactly now we're in a phase where people go, oh, why is it not there yet? And we want more. And so that's the process. And it's a very intuitive process. So again, be surrounded by people who are smarter than you. Focus on the artistic or the design-driven, the dream, the purpose. Listen a lot, ignore a lot, and you're going to fail as well. You're going to learn from it, but there will be a moment where it all will come together. Yeah, and that's your little 10 minutes of joy, and then you start again. Yeah.
For people who look up to you, who want to be the next Daan Roosegaarde, how would they go about doing that? Because we have this kind of like vision of you as a student who also had this crummy job at a Jumbo, for example, or that fell off his bike into the sloats, right? How do you grow from a student like that, from an IDE student or an art student, to the famous innovator you are today?
Well, I mean, I was a sponge. I'm just sucking up. Just so curious. You just read everything. I took my bicycle and I was just driving at the industrial areas, this anonymous, ugly thing. and I was just going through the containers, the garbage, and to check for materials. And I realized, well, there are like 1,000 polyesters. I didn't know that, don't know what. So you just figure out materials, like, whoa. And there was a 3D printer in Enschede. That was Technical University. We're talking about 2012. That 3D printer was like the high end. And so they had one of the first 3D printers in the Netherlands, or maybe even Europe. That was like top notch, huge thing. I was there. I went there. I heard about it. Let's go. And they were printing ashtrays to check the machine. And so you walk into the room with one of the most sophisticated machines in Europe, and all they're doing is printing ashtrays. So I'm like looking at that. I'm like, okay, so can I make a design and then you print that, right? I mean, just like, does it matter? They're like, no, it doesn't matter. We just need to print, we need to test the machine. And so we started doing that, and we started to challenge each other. Like, can you do this? Can you do color? Can you do organic shapes? And so suddenly this room filled with 3D printed ashtrays turned into actually maybe the studio that I have now. It was sort of the prototype of the studio where the engineers and the craftsmanship were challenged with a designer and a vision. I don't know how a 3D printer works, and they needed to be challenged. And it was amazing. And I realized when I was doing that, I'm like, this is interesting. This is cool. And they're sort of happy, and we're happy. It's sort of, this is cool. There's something in it. This is what I want to do. So that's how it started. Yeah. Cool, huh? But can you imagine walking into the room filled with ashtrays, 3D printed?
Yeah, I would think this just hurts my brain and the world and my body and everything. This is wrong.
I mean, they were just doing their job. You can't blame them. It's fine. But they just needed to be challenged in a different way. It's okay.
Another question. There's a lot of people that look up to you. That's why we asked you for an interview. We were wondering, or actually one of our listeners was wondering, when you were this nerdy guy in the library and going through trash cans, discovering materials, was there someone you were looking up to?
Well, I mean, I was a guy, and maybe I am a guy who felt more connected with places than with people. Pantheon or Antwerp, or I love the Russian literature, Pushkin, Gogol, Chekhov, Nabokov, who just described the travels they made in this sort of rather barbaric, brutal, but yet poetic Russia of that time. I worked in a bookstore, a secondhand bookstore, but sometimes, I missed the last train, and my student room was far away, so I would sleep in that secondhand bookstore. And there was one room where exactly a one-person mattress fitted, and that's where the Russian literature was. So I fell asleep every night, surrounded by the great authors, Gogol, Pushkin, etc. And I swear to God, it influenced my dreams. So, I think Olafur was really important, and still is. Lysen, in his own way. It's funny because he made some project. I'm like, shit, I should have made that one. And we made like the Waterlicht. He's like, shit, we should have made that one. So it's like it's really cool. It's like we're sort of WhatsApp. I'm gonna WhatsApp him about the Urban Sun. He's gonna be really pissed. He's gonna be. Why do we? And it's really fun because we're sort of competitors, but we also like each other, and there's sort of this very interesting sort of rivalry, but it's in a positive way. You're sort of like like.
Got him.
Like okay, what are you gonna do next? And I love that. It's one of my joys that when the project is finished, I'm gonna WhatsApp Olafur and say, like what do you think about this one? and of course he does the same with me. And
pushing each other to be
exactly.
better.
And I think that's also really important, which is sometimes missing in design. It's very we don't share strategies, and we show, but we don't really share or exchange. And in science, it's really normal to share strategies and peer review. And that's what they do, right? And so with the team up, that's what we do. We just went there and said, okay, so you're running a studio, we're running a studio. So what's your beauty? What's your bullshit? What troubles you? We did it with Thomas Hedderwick in London, also one of my heroes. So just talking about the engine, then we realized, hey man, they have the same shit as we do, and they have the same happiness as we do. So we're not crazy, How do you deal with clients? How do you manage the studio? And Hedderwick said something really inspiring that I'll never forget. He said, my greatest work of art, my greatest work of architecture is the studio itself. Right? Who do I hire? Who do I fire? Should I become big, small? And he say, I'm thinking about it every day. That's my life work. And I thought, that's exactly how I feel about it. But I never really thought about it in that way. So there's literature, there's architecture, there are places, and there are of course your peers that you somehow relate to, and it's sort of fun. Yeah. So do that more. Just team up and just go there and say, hi, I'm Pup, and go there and hang out.
That's something.
Absolutely.
That's something that a lot of our guests actually. That's how the Lego designer got his job. That's how
Yeah,
Claudia,
just go there. Yeah.
They just go there. That's very interesting that you say that. Okay, so the studio. I actually, wow. You wouldn't say that I'm a podcast host when I talk like this, right?
You're the podcast. Oh, okay.
I know. I'm surprised as well.
We're all amateur science.
Okay, so the studio. You made me think of this question because you said about Hedwig that his greatest artwork or his greatest project was his own studio.
Yeah.
I read in an interview with Fortune of you that it said that Mr. Roosegaarde, you were called, Roosegaarde, strongly believes that leading people while building a successful, sustainable business is an independent designer's greatest design challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I sometimes have the idea, like maybe after my studies, I can start a studio. Like I got some cool ideas. I'm studying industrial design. I feel like I'm getting good at working them out into something real.
Do it.
But exactly. But the thing is, it scares me shitless.
Yeah, of course it is.
You're
Of
done.
course.
You don't have any money, and then you're gonna start a studio.
Yeah. So are you
What-
going to be driven by curiosity or by fear? Everybody's scared. I'm scared. I'm curious. But what are you going to base your decision on? That's the decision you can make. The fear will always be there. Always.
Okay.
So, but it's really interesting how you can design it. So I had a fear of height, right? Fear of height. And we did high-end projects on skyscraper in Asia, Dubai, and it became really embarrassing with the clients and the manufacturers. And I really was fed up with it. So I started to challenge that. So I started to walk alone on high staircases. I started paragliding and check my Instagram. I started parachuting, like airplane. Parachute.
Okay.
Another guy,
That's
and then you
that's
jump.
about
And-
the boundary of fear of height.
yeah, and no more fear of height. It's gone. It took me 2 years. It was bloody scary.
Wow.
They film you when you jump. The first time I jumped, I'm like, oh, I look really chill. And then you look back to footage, you're like, you see me like because your whole body, your body sort of feels he's actually going to do this, and it's of course the most unnatural. But then I did it in Texel a couple of weeks ago again, just for just to check if I'm. So you can design yourself. That's what I'm saying. You can engineer yourself in that way. And it's really cool because it was raining, but you jump in the sun. You jump above the clouds.
Yeah.
You jump in the light of the sun. And then you fall down and you see the clouds beneath you, but the clouds look like solid. And your brain says, no, they're soft, you're going to fall through it. But your body is like, no, it's not. It's weird. And then so you fall and then you fall through the clouds, and the sun disappears, and then you're in the rain. And it was just like it was so cinematic, and it was so. I love to do these kind of things, but it can also be a little thing like reading a book or having a conversation. We do things you hate. Do 3 things you hate, or that triggers you, or that scare you, because it's not about being happy. It's not about being comfortable. Forget about that. That's not going to bring you happiness. Don't.
Whoa.
No. Do 3 things you hate. I started to work with clay when I was your age. I hate clay. It's like it dries your hand, and it's like this mess, and you need to put it in the oven, and you need to wait. I hate waiting, and then it breaks. You have to start again. And then I realized, so I hate clay. I really hate clay. So maybe it's about interaction, right? And maybe it's about immaterial. So maybe it's about light and interactivity and sound and people and I hate it because some people thought I was gay at that time. I really hated it, which I'm not. And so I went to a gay bar, and that's where I met my first girlfriend, because she always went there. She was beautiful, and she wasn't harassed by other guys. And the first thing I forgot. But so anyway, do 3 things we hate, and it's amazing. Like, it's really cool. Yeah.
Okay. I will try that.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah, we talked about also like distilling down what your lesson would be to students and to future designers. You talked about letting curiosity guide you and not letting fear stand in your way. We talked about just doing it and overcoming that fear
Right.
and going and talking to people.
Yeah,
Is
taking
that-
and taking ownership of your future. A lot of my students,
Yeah.
I'm visiting professor in Shanghai and Mexico. They say our future is frozen, our future is stolen away from me, our future is muted. And
Why do they say that?
well, because Corona and they are inside
Yeah.
and everything, no investment, and they're partly true. But at the same time, there more than ever there's a desire for new ideas, and we have to become architects of our future. Otherwise, we are its victims. Quote of Bakmonis de Fuller.
Yeah.
Read Bakmonis de Fuller. Like, I have sometimes an intern who doesn't know who Bakmonis de Fuller is. It's like, what are they teaching at design, for God's sake? That's when I feel old. But so I think take ownership of you're not designing a bloody chair. You're designing your life, right? And parts of your life and our life. And if you start owning and thinking like that, there's a whole world to be explored. And there is love and money and engagement and people who will help you. And just don't be so scared. Yeah, it's going to be okay.
You said this greatest challenge is building your own successful studio. But what if I just want to design cool stuff? What if I'm not a student that's like, oh yeah, I want my greatest challenge to be a studio? No,
then you come and you
like
work,
cool stuff.
and then you work at a studio like mine.
Okay.
No, I mean that's hello, no, I have a lot of people I'm not saying I'm the best designer in the world, because there are a lot of more talented designer out there. But what I can do is put people in a room and create links that weren't there before, and then make it happen. Right? That's my talent. That's my skill. And so I ask those super even more talented designers to come here and just say, okay, you just focus on this part, right? You just designed it. You don't have to worry about payment and insurance. That's all covered. It's like just focus on one thing, and they love it, right? They're really good at that. So it's a platform. It's a habitat where they can grow, and that works. Yeah, and then it depends a bit on your taste. You want to more do art, poetic, or you want to go more practical. Figure it out.
I feel like so far we haven't talked about any of the projects, like really talked about them. It's a bit of a cheesy question, but maybe instead of asking what is your favorite project, what is your least favorite project?
Well, I hate the urban sun so much right now, because it's just this endless amount of time, love, and energy I need to feed it, and nothing goes. There's no client, there's no context, there's just and it just takes so much energy to make it grow and mature it. But I have to say, in the end of the day today, I start to love it, because I just received the final edit of the movie, and it looks great after months of work. We're getting some people, virus experts, that's sort of interesting. So, but most likely the least favorite is the one I like the most, and is the one I'm working on.
They're one and the same.
Yeah, it's very much related. Yeah, it's like left is sometimes so left it becomes right again, right? Or when you're under the shower, when you want more warm water, you can do more cold water or less warm water, right? They're always it's this weird circular behavior, circular feeling about the project. Yeah. And always 1 week before the launch, I'm always like, this really sucks. We should cancel. We should cancel. It sucks. Like the edit, and look at this, there's a glitch in there. And it's so funny, because then I talk with my head of design here, and he's like, Dan, you do this all the time. You did it with Van Gogh path. You did it with the smoke-free. You did it with the space. Every time you do this, I'm like, really? And I completely forgot about that. My brain completely filled. And then I checked back the emails, and he's right. So it's sort of this yeah. Now I sound like a crazy guy, but it's really it's amazing how the brain creates its own reality again, right? And you just forget about it. Like when the lady gives birth, she forgets about the pain and just focus on the baby, right? I can say that doing these projects is the closest thing a man will come to give birth. I mean, I'm sure this is not a correct way for some people to say, but yeah, it is. It does feel like that. Yeah. But it's sort of fun.
Yeah. So in Greek philosophy, they talk about that, how ideas are impregnated in the mind, and that you give birth to ideas by sharing them, by teaching.
Yeah, it's fascinating. But again, the idea, in my opinion, the idea takes ownership of you. It's like sometimes I love Stark, and if one of my favorite TED Talks of Stark is in a red jacket. It's sort of a TED Talk where he talks about...
Yeah.
What's the title is again?
The beginning of the Earth and about...
Yeah, exactly. And he no slides, no projects, no, and he just talks about evolution. He talks about evolution. How 2.8 billion years ago there was the explosion which created the Earth, and we are here, and I think in 2.8 billion the sun will explode, we'll all die. So he's like, oh good, so we're in the middle, right? We're in the middle of evolution. And that's how he starts. And he ridiculizes the role of the designer. He's like, who am I? A designer of toothbrushes. Who am I? But he says, but it's so important to create and to learn. And although it's a futile toothbrush, it's part of our evolution in the same way as the monkey never imagined to become a human. We think this is it. We are it. This is it. For thousands and millions of years, evolution, and now we are human. We are God. This is it.
We are human.
We are human. But of course, that's not true. And as the monkey would never imagine to become human, if you believe in that, or the algae never imagined to become something that could talk, we can never imagine how we will be in the future. We can't. We just can't. And I think I'm not sure why I'm telling you this, but it just sort of beautifully, you can look it up online, beautifully shows the movement we are in. And the ownership and the contribution you can make to that evolution, but at the same time, it's just a point on the line going somewhere. And, so surrender to the idea. Let the idea guide you. And, hope in the end you can add some meaning to it all. Who will tell? Yeah. Cool, huh?
You at least have to try to see if you can find out. So.
Yeah, Stark is also really good, like in that way. Philip Stark. Okay. Not the shit he makes, but the way he thinks about it. No more chairs. Oh. Why is everybody designing chairs? Can you explain me that?
I don't know. I designed the lamp once, and then I thought, fuck, I designed the lamp.
But just explain it to me. Why? No, but seriously,
why did I do it?
We have enough chairs, lamps, and tables.
Yeah.
Like why? Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know.
No, but somebody has to explain.
We can make them better. Maybe we can make them better.
Yeah, sure. No,
I
agree.
Right?
And again, I mean, a lot of people who design them right now are my friends, and I like them, and they're great designs. But aren't there, like it's the same with cars. Let's talk about a project, Smart Highway. Focus on cars, BMW, Tesla. Car is a really bad idea, really well designed, right? And it's very well executed. But what about the highways? What about the thing we see while we're actually driving, and the pedestrian path and the bicycle path, like Van Gogh, and why are they don't have the billions of euros of R&D or creative thinking? And I think that's why the Van Gogh path became so famous. Yes, it was beautiful. Yes, it was Van Gogh, but it was also before. Nobody was really designing bicycle paths before. It was just not happening. It was sort of out of the spectrum. So go to the periphery. Go to a place where nobody has went before, and that's also where you have the freedom to play and to make your statement, because there isn't the oeuvre. There aren't 1,000 other bicycle paths, and it's interesting, right?
Yeah. That's probably also why you like the attitude in Asia and the Middle East, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're in development, and and they're struggling. And again, it's not perfect. I mean, I love Europe. I love the culture. They're smart people. It's safe. It's a great place to have a studio, and the appreciation for culture and history. But there's definitely a lack of curiosity. And there's definitely a lack to invest in new ideas. And that's a problem. Yeah.
All right, we had one final question. What would be the perfect Christmas gift for Daan Roosegaarde? Since this is
Oh, wow.
our Christmas
Okay,
episode.
so this is how you should have started the conversation, because it's a really good question.
Like I said, I'm very surprised that I'm a podcast host. I honestly don't know why.
Yeah, but you saved your podcast life with asking this question. No, it's a goddamn good question. I don't have an answer because it's a good question.
You don't have an answer? There's nothing on your list.
No, I have everything I want. If I wanted, I would have gotten it. Maybe. Oh yeah, maybe. Okay.
Okay.
That's what I would do. I would love to be the mayor for one night, and then at 8:00 for 1 hour, in an orchestrated way, shut down all the lights in the city, so we can see the stars again.
The stars. Yeah.
So we celebrate light, we celebrate darkness. Bomb. That's what I would do. Yeah, just bomb. Yeah, that would be really. Because light pollution is so ugly, and all these street lights burning the whole night when nobody's there. It's just like, why? Why? If the street light would be a person, it would just be blabbing all the time. Nobody would speak to him or him. Like it would be this kid with glasses talking all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, it's just like that's how our street lights, are right now. Anyway, so that would be awesome. Yeah, Or what do you think? Or what else?
Well, I'm more on the basic level of asking a nice novel and stuff. I don't know. I hope Jens has got something more interesting maybe, but I asked for a book.
No.
Not even a specific book.
No, but if you would be me, what would you ask?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's
interesting.
I don't know. What are you missing? Really?
Hey, come on, guys. We talked for an hour and a half.
10 more minutes of viewing your project alone.
Now you're being polite, but not honest. But okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Have you got all the Buckminster Fuller books already?
No.
No,
I love
that. There we go.
I love that.
Yes.
I will give you a Buckminster Fuller book.
Yeah, that's like, he gave like lectures like 8 hours long, and he just kept on talking and talking.
Really?
He's the street lamp.
He's the street.
Yeah.
But then did you appreciate the light that the street
but
lamp
his
makes?
helping light brightens us all.
Okay, Dan, we have used up all our minutes.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, that was fun. It was
Deep
fun,
thank
guys.
you.
I enjoyed as well. And
It was amazing. Thank you so much.
ciao.
Yes, thank you very much again, Dan, and have a great evening.
You can always bribe me with strawberry cheesecake ice cream. So.
Ooh.
That's good to know.
Sometimes life is so simple. Like you can talk, you can write, you can
After all the fear, after all the parachute jumping,
ice cream.
just a nice piece.
Just
of ice
bribe
cream.
people with ice cream. It's just amazing.